On Thursday, as President Bola Tinubu launched the Economic Stabilization Program to strengthen the economy, the 31-member Presidential Economic Coordination Council was inaugurated. Well, tonight, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst is here to share more insights about the economy and the role of the new Economic Coordination Council and the role that it will play. Hello, Abajide. It's good to have you on the news at 10.
Good evening, Anne.
So my first question to you will be, what should Nigerians be expecting from the members of the Presidential Economic Coordination Council?
For me, it will be a five-letter word. T-R-U-T-H, truth. That is what Nigerians should expect from this Presidential Economic Coordination Council. Nigerians expect that these 31 members, at the very minimum, should tell the president the truth. But there are two other things that are important for us to talk about tonight, Anne. The first is, in this council, there are three interests that will be competing. We'll have the business interest of some of these leaders, because some of them are friends, and indeed some of them are enemies. We'll have political interests competing, because in this Advisory Coordination Council, we also have politicians, and we have the organized private sector. And clearly, national interest. So for me, it's a perspective of those in this council. We will see a lot of fight between persons trying to achieve their business interest, some persons trying to achieve political interest, and some clearly focusing on national interest. And perhaps the most important thing for me is, if we take a look at history, we have been here before. Let's take a look at some of the key members in this coordination council that have historically been in previous councils. Let's start take a look at what happened under Goodluck Jonathan. We then had Aliko Dangote, AIG Mokwede, Atedo Petersai. They were part of the federal government's Economic Management Council, and that was in 2011. In 2012, Aliko Dangote was appointed the co-chairman of the Committee on Flood Relief and Rehabilitation. That was a big one. But in 2013 as well, Aliko then had attributed a lot of his success to the favorable policies of Goodluck Jonathan. Tony Elumelu was appointed as the vice chairman of the Presidential Jobs Board, then with a mandate to create 3 million jobs in 12 months. That was in 2013. In 2014, we saw the appointment of Theophilus Danjuma as well. And let's look at what has happened under Buhari, or what happened under President Buhari. Tony Elumelu visited Buhari, we remember that was in April 2015. Apart from that, we see other organized private stakeholders, big names, taking positions in 2019. There was another visit to Buhari in the State House. Aliko Dangote then had commended President Buhari's Economic Advisory Council in 2019. And we had seen that Aliko Dangote, Tony Elumelu, also received National Productivity Order of Merit awards by the federal government. So what we are saying is, under Jonathan and under Buhari, some of these names were part of the economic management team. In 2022, Aliko had visited President Buhari at the Villa, and President Buhari had then appointed Aliko as the chairman of the End Malaria Council. Interesting days, same names, 2011 up till now. Let's look at what has happened. What happened last year. President Tinubu had inaugurated the National Economic Council, headed by Kashim Shettima. This year, we saw Aliko Dangote, Otedola, Elumelu all appointed into the Economic Advisory Committee. And now we've seen the inauguration of the Presidential Economic Coordination Council. In summary terms, Anne, what I'm saying is, the big names in this Presidential Economic Coordination Council were the big names in President Jonathan's council and the same big names in President Buhari's council.
Babajide, you had already mentioned that most of these people are the president's friends. So the question will now be, how will the president measure their performance when it comes to doing the job?
So the president has talked about some clear things. He's talked about trying to achieve 6 gigawatts of power in 6 months. He's talked about trying to achieve 2 million barrels oil production per day in the next 12 months. He's also talked about his goal for improved agricultural productivity. In fact, he's talked about some sort of subsidy in terms of the cost of capital for micro, small, and medium enterprises and manufacturing sector. But the challenge, and the real challenge, is we've seen a lot of presidential economic coordination councils under different names: economic management team, economic emergency team. The real question Nigerians are asking is, has this improved the standard of living? And the World Bank provides some insight. Let's take a look at what the World Bank says about Nigeria's per capita GDP within the last 12 years, within the last dozen years. And carefully look at this. And these are not my numbers. These are not Babajide Ogunsanwo's numbers. These are the numbers from World Bank. The World Bank says in 2012, Nigeria had a GDP per capita of a little over $5,700. After 5 years, the GDP per capita had grown by less than 2% to $5,849. Going by the World Bank latest report, they say as at the end of 2022, Nigeria's GDP per capita is now down to 5,670, worse than what it was 10 years ago. So we've seen a lot of presidential economic management teams under different names. The World Bank, in simple terms, is saying if we're looking at the GDP per capita as a proxy for measuring standard and quality of life, things have not significantly changed in Nigeria.
We've seen the president many times begging and asking global investors to come in, but let's take a look at the policies and programs of the government. Would you say they're now attracting global investors?
In the final analysis, and I'd like you to take a careful look at what I'm about to say, there's some good news and there's some bad news, depending on where you stand and how you want to take a look at it. Let's take a look at how global investors are being attracted to Nigeria. Again, depending on how you want to take a look at it, there's some good news and the bad news. I'm talking about the chart of the week. One way to compare things is to look at the foreign direct investment in President Buhari's first year and compare it to President Tinubu's first year. If you take a look at that perspective, then there's bad news, because in President Buhari's first year, he attracted $1.2 billion worth of foreign direct investment and $7.7 billion worth of capital. In President Tinubu's first year, he's only attracted $450 million worth of FDI and $6.1 billion capital. So if we compare President Buhari, former President Buhari's first 1 year to President Tinubu's first 1 year, you'll say it's bad. However, if you compare former President Buhari's last 1 year with President Tinubu's 1 year, then there's some good news. And that's because in President Buhari's last 1 year, foreign direct investment was only $361 million. In President Tinubu's first 1 year, now we've seen FDI of $450 million. $4.9 billion worth of capital came in President Buhari's last 1 year. In President Tinubu's first 1 year, we've seen $6.1 billion. So in the final analysis, it depends on what side of the table you want to argue. Are you comparing President Tinubu's first 1 year with Buhari's last 1 year or his first 1 year? But let's not forget how we started. There will be a lot of business, political, and national interest in this Economic Management Council. However, the focus should still be, what is the Nigerian dream? And the president now, more than ever, has to define for the common man, what is the Nigerian dream? Anne.
All right. Thank you very much, Babajide Ogunsanwo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst. I hope we all get to achieve our dreams.
Hopefully, the president should set new dreams.